name is Matikela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Let's talk about the Tumelo Don't Talk to Tumelo Madlala order that came for Lishebane and his colleague. I forgot what's his name. Yes, Modise. Modise and Lishebane were given a very tight order. Do not speak to Tumelo Madlala. Let's get into this because now he exposes that and the state panics, Kesa. The Senzo Meyiwa murder trial exploded after General Lishebane revealed shocking details about an alleged order to stop interviewing key witness Tumelo Madlala. The courtroom descended into chaos as Advocate Baloyi objected to names being mentioned, while the defense accused the state of hiding behind technicalities instead of searching for the truth. Did the prosecution interfere with the investigation? That's a big question. Why was Lishebane allegedly warned not to continue? And why did Judge Ratta allow the testimony to continue? This courtroom battle may become one of the most controversial moments of the entire trial. Let's go and find out what has happened. Okay, let's go and find out what has happened. So, right now, Senzo Meyiwa trial has entered one of the most dangerous phases again, because the courtroom is no longer only fighting about 5 accused men. The fight is now about who controlled the investigation itself. And today, retired General Lishebane dropped another nuclear bomb directly inside that courtroom. This time, the explosion centered around the name Tumelo Madlala. The courtroom heard that Lishebane and General Modise have traveled to KwaZulu-Natal to interview two critical individuals, Mthokozi Sithwala and Tumelo Madlala. According to Lishebane, the interview with Mthokozi Sithwala was successful. Everything appeared normal. The investigation was moving forward. They were following leads. They were interviewing witnesses. But suddenly, everything changed. Before they could interview Tumelo Madlala, Lishebane says a phone call came in. And according to his testimony, the message was clear: do not interview Tumelo Madlala. Let that sink in carefully. He even further goes on to say, if they forcefully did it, the person that called said, you will get arrested. Do not. The NPA says, don't do it. So don't do it. If you do it, you will get arrested. So they let it go because they did not want to get arrested. A senior police general is allegedly told to stop pursuing a witness in one of the biggest murder cases in South African history. Immediately, the courtroom atmosphere changed because this was no longer just evidence. This was an allegation of interference. Lishebane testified that Deputy General, what's the surname of Deputy General that called Motiba, I think that's what he said, allegedly contacted him personally because, and warned him not to proceed because someone from the national office had supposedly been assigned to handle the matter. That alone was exclusive. But then came the real detonation. Lishebane testified that he was later summoned to the residence of Advocate Chauke. Advocate Chauke is also a state senior prosecutor. The moment that name entered the courtroom, Advocate Baloyi immediately jumped up and down. And suddenly the courtroom turned into war. Baloyi argued that it was unfair for names of people not before court to be mentioned in evidence. He argued those individuals were not present to defend themselves. Legally, that sounds reasonable, right? On the surface, yes. But then Advocate Ramsipile fired back with devastating force. He accused the state of selective outrage. Ramsipile basically told the court, how can the state suddenly complain about fairness now when they themselves introduced names of people not before court during cross-examination? Boom! That did not sit well. Now, the courtroom was no longer debating evidence. The courtroom was debating hypocrisy of Baloyi. Ramsipile reminded the court that the state previously referred to people, to family members, people that are not there, and members involved absent individuals in this court. So according to defense, even Mnisi reminded him, you just 1 hour ago talked about Sibiya's father. He's not here. So what do you mean? So according to defense, that situation alone is not fair. And now Ubaloyi was not understanding that. Now, the state only becomes concerned about fairness when the evidence threatens to the prosecution itself. And that accusation landed heavily inside the court. Then came the line that changed the entire mood of the courtroom. General Shabane declared, "I'm here to testify for justice, not necessities or technicalities." That statement hit the courtroom like a missile because suddenly the image being painted was this: a witness trying to tell the truth while lawyers allegedly hide behind procedural objections. Now, whether that is legally correct or not is another debate entirely. But emotionally and publicly, that statement was powerful. And Judge Rata noticed the tension immediately. What became important is that the judge did not completely shut down the testimony, at least not by choice, because they reminded him, don't you dare. Instead, he essentially indicated, okay, fine, but that is not the same principle. And the guys were like, you don't get to tell us. And then he had no choice. He said, okay, fine, ask the question. That single moment legally is significant, right? Because once the line of questioning is opened, the opposing side can often explain surrounding context. In simple terms, the defense argued the state opened the door themselves, and now the state was panicking because it did not like where the answer was going. But let's step back and understand why this testimony is so dangerous. The defense is clearly building a bigger picture. They are trying to show that certain witnesses were controlled, certain interviews were discouraged, certain investigative parts were blocked, and certain narratives were protected. That is the real war inside this trial, not simple whether someone made a statement, but who controlled the flow of the information. And that is the defense, that is if the defense succeeds in creating reasonable doubt around the interpret of the investigation itself, then the entire prosecution narrative becomes vulnerable. That is why today's courtroom clash mattered so much, because the issue is no longer just did the accused commit the crime. The issue now is becoming, was the investigation itself manipulated? And that is a terrifying question for the state. But there is also a danger for the defense, because allegations alone are not enough. Eventually, the defense will need corroboration, documents, call records, other witnesses, or independent evidence confirming these alleged interventions. Without that, the court could eventually view these claims as hearsay or speculation. But for now, the damage is already spreading. The public has now heard allegations that the witness interview was allegedly stopped. The senior prosecutor's name surfaced, and courtroom objections exploded the moment the issue was raised. That creates perception damage, whether the state likes it or not. And once public confidence in the integrity of an investigation starts collapsing, controlling the narrative becomes almost impossible. So today was not just another day in court. Today was a direct collision between truth, procedure, power, and control. And judging by the panic inside that courtroom, the pressure inside the Senzo Meyiwa trial is now reaching nuclear levels. What are your thoughts when it comes to this? I want to hear from you. Thank you so much. Please do enjoy your day.